something is wrong, reach out to a trained professional for advice. Call 911 in an emergency or 311 and ask to speak with an elder abuse specialist and do your part to protect our city seniors.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311 or visit nyc.gov.
Did you know that NYC Health and Hospitals serves 1.4 million New Yorkers? Our health system includes hospitals, neighborhood health centers, nursing homes, and post-acute care centers. We are a home care agency and a health plan, Metro Plus. Our talented and diverse workforce is uniquely able to offer high-quality and culturally responsive health care to patients.
Yeah, that would be helpful if you. That's fine. But so can we have someone stand here, not right next to him? Because usually he likes to stand.
That's fine. Is right there fine?
A little bit more back. Is there possible to go a little more back?
I mean, I've done this before. Like you see the tape mark right there. I'm usually
Okay.
standing right there.
So like if I'm sitting here, just do like right there. That's fine. Like whatever.
Yeah, it depends on what the camera view is. Because if the camera's coming from over here and the mayor's standing,
It's going straight. We want the straight on shot. This is gonna be a second. Yeah.
Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. This is mic check. 1 2. Test 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 test. 1 2. You guys hear me? Everyone good?
Good.
Hello hello. We good? All right. Thank you. Okay. All right, guys.
I don't cheat, Chief Elaine. Often confused with Eddie. So why is he doing this? Is he running his job?
I'm
Does he
John.
Joanne Jaffe on
No, I'm Robert. That's John.
Nobody stopped
Do you
her.
work
She went on her
do you
own.
work with us, or?
She was talking about, initially about crime and then weirdly about terrorism. Like she had some experience.
Okay. Do you want to take another one? Use it all the time.
With her emphasis on his like
New York Post?
checks.
Okay.
Her mind, yeah. Yeah, it was. You should look at the recording. It was so bad. Jimmy said my ears were bleeding.
Of course.
Whatever. Time of day. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Yeah. Oh, an hour off? Okay.
Shouldn't take you that long to change it, correct? I guess you don't want to have that up on the...
Deben ofrecer un programa de ahorros para transporte al trabajo. Tanto los empleados como los empleadores ahorran. Llame al 311 para aprender más sobre esta ley.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I want to give an update on Tropical Storm Hermine and the city's emergency preparations. And I want to say at the outset, we're very concerned about some of the effects of this storm. It is a fast-changing situation, so we're coordinating very closely with the National Weather Service, and we will be giving regular updates. And the most important thing I want to say up front is it is crucial for all New Yorkers to check updates regularly on what's going on with this storm. I don't want anyone to take this one lightly, even though it's been changing over the last few hours. There are some elements of this storm that are very, very troubling, and particularly a problem in terms of our coastal areas and our beaches. I'm going to go into detail on that. But people should watch carefully, keep updated with the news, and we'll tell you other ways you can keep updated, because this storm could really be very dangerous, particularly to people in coastal communities. I want to thank my colleagues from city government who are here. You will hear from some of them. I also want to thank and acknowledge Liam Kavanaugh from the Parks Department, Vincent Sapienza from DEP, Mitch Stripling from the Department of Health Emergency Operations Division, Amy Peterson, who's running our Build It Back program, Director of Housing and Recovery, Tim Hogan from Department of Buildings, Chief Gerald Nelson, Vice President for Public Safety at NYCHA, all here with us, and thank you. And it's an example of the fact that all city agencies are coordinating at this point with OEM taking the lead, creating that coordination and that preparation, again, because there's several elements to this storm that we're very, very concerned about. Now, Hermine is currently in South Georgia and forecast to move northeast near North Carolina coast by 2 a.m. Saturday. Then by 2 a.m. Sunday, the storm will be well offshore of Virginia and slowly tracking north towards Long Island. It will then, and this is one of the things we're very concerned about, at that point it is projected to stall and remain offshore as a very strong storm through Wednesday morning. Now that's an unusual situation for such a large storm to stall and remain in place and have a real direct impact on New York City and Long Island, all the surrounding areas for such a long period of time. That's unusual, and that's one of the things that's causing us some real concern. We know that this is a changing situation. We don't have all the facts yet of what to expect in terms of this weekend and beyond. We do know for sure we will feel very serious effects from this storm. So although we're not in a position yet to describe exactly what will be, we know for sure we're going to feel this storm strongly. Now, coastal areas should be particularly concerned. Coastal flooding and heavy rain and strong winds are expected from late Saturday all the way through Wednesday. So I want everyone to understand, from Saturday, second half of Saturday, all through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, expect in coastal areas flooding, heavy rain, strong winds. We are going to look at a series of things that we may have to do as the storm develops to protect New Yorkers. I want to say in advance, if the wind situation develops negatively, we are considering bridge restrictions in some parts of the city. We have not made that decision yet. We have to get closer to this situation, but I want New Yorkers, particularly motorists, to keep watching in case bridge restrictions are declared. Now, the particular concern, the number one concern in terms of safety is riptides right now. And I want people to understand this is a very unusual situation. According to the National Weather Service, we could see some of the most intense riptides literally in 10 or 15 years. These could be some of the strongest and most dangerous riptides. The phrase used by the Weather Service in the briefing I was just on was extremely dangerous riptides. I want all New Yorkers to understand that. It is not appropriate in this kind of situation, and this will start in earnest on Sunday. It's not appropriate to go in the water when you're dealing with these kind of riptides. They are extremely strong. Once the riptide grabs you, you cannot get out in many, many cases. So some people are tempted during extreme weather to go and look. If you want to go look, that's one thing. Do not go in the water. It will be very dangerous. It will be unusually dangerous. It is not even going to be like some of the riptides we experience with lesser storms, these again will be some of the strongest riptides we've seen in over a decade. Now, we will be closing our city beaches on Sunday, meaning that people can go on the beach but not in the water. So we'll be closing beaches for swimming on Sunday. For sure, we're announcing that now. No swimming at our city beaches Sunday. We will likely be closing the beaches for swimming on Monday and Tuesday as well, but we'll make those announcements as we get closer and we see how the storm develops. But if anyone has plans for Sunday, recognize there's a very strong chance they'll be disrupted, but under no condition should any New Yorker be swimming at a city beach on Sunday. Now, we do not at this moment believe that Hermine will become hurricane strength or anything close to what we experienced with Sandy a few years ago. We can say we learned some very powerful and painful lessons from Sandy, and we've made a number of changes to the way we prepare for this kind of situation. We have a much stronger emergency preparedness apparatus in place. The Situation Room here at OEM has been activated, coordinating with the federal government, state government, and our private partners as well. 30-plus city agencies are mobilized, working together, and there's a whole host of issues that can come up in this situation. Obviously, flooding, down trees coming down is a danger unto themselves, but can also knock down power lines, so all the agencies stand ready to address these issues quickly. The city's flash flood emergency plan has been activated to help mitigate potential flooding, and outreach teams will be working to protect the health and safety of all New Yorkers, particularly those who are homeless or who need shelter for any reason. So the city's prepared, but as we always talk about in these situations, every New Yorker also has to be prepared themselves. You can be assured your city government is in a ready stance right now to deal with this crisis, but all New Yorkers have to get ready as well. So a couple of key points. One, prepare a go bag. If you live particularly in coastal areas, you may need to leave your home quickly, and you can go on the city's website to get suggestions about what to have in that go bag so you're ready to move quickly. Second, prepare for flooding if you're in a flood-susceptible area. And Joe Esposito will go over the specific neighborhoods that we expect to be particularly vulnerable. Things that you can do. You can keep the kind of materials around that will help protect your home. A lot of people who live in coastal areas are very familiar with these realities. Plywood, plastic sheeting, lumber, sandbags, all the things that will help protect your home. If you don't have them already, this is a good time to get them. And make sure that anything that might turn into a projectile in heavy winds, loose objects, lightweight objects that are outside, are secured or brought inside the house. Next, prepare for power outages. The city and our partners in the utilities have done a better job in recent years of getting ahead of power outages and limiting their impact, but they still are often the case when you have this kind of situation. So prepare for them. Charge cell phone batteries. Turn your fridge to colder settings so it keeps your food cooler longer if the power goes out. As always, check on friends, check on neighbors, check on relatives, especially check on seniors. Check on anyone with a serious medical condition that you know to make sure they're safe and they have what they need. And we do expect high wind conditions. I'm going to say the common sense things to do. If the winds really start to pick up, get inside. Do not go driving, do not go walking, do not go jogging. Get inside if the winds become severe. Not only can you be in danger or your car be in danger in that situation, but again, you could find a projectile flying at you from something that is not secured and can be very dangerous. And as I mentioned, it's crucial to constantly keep in touch with the news, keep in touch with the updates to know what's going on. We're going to be updating the restrictions. I hope we can give you more positive reports, but we have seen some storms get better and lesser as they go along. We've also seen storms take a sudden turn for the worse. So we need people to be vigilant and stay alert and stay updated. You can do that obviously through the news media, but also you can do that through 311 or via our website, nyc.gov. And if you want to get regular updates through Notify NYC, you can sign up, again, either through 311 or nyc.gov, or you can follow us at the Twitter handle at NotifyNYC. a few words in Spanish before I bring up my colleagues. Estamos siguiendo de cerca la tormenta tropical Hermín, que se dirige hacia nuestra costa. Nueva York puede sufrir fuertes corrientes, alta marea, inundaciones costeras, fuertes lluvias y fuertes vientos la noche del sábado hasta el miércoles. Por favor, prepararse para inundaciones si vive en la costa y tenga mucho cuidado si decide nadar este fin de semana. Para obtener más información, llame al 311. With that, I want you to hear from our OEM Commissioner, Joe Esposito.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the mayor said, we've been tracking this storm for over a week now. Hurricane season starts June 1st, goes till the end of November, and as a result, we've been in constant contact with the National Weather Service regarding this. This one we've been tracking since before it was even named the storm. As a result of the information we're getting, we've done a number of things, as the mayor has articulated. We've also put in our flash flood plan, which alerts DEP, sanitation, DOT to go out and clear catch basins, especially in those areas where they tend to flood, so they're doing that actively. We've activated our downstream task force. We have them on alert. We know that in the weather like this, we'll have some trees down that will block roadways, create dangerous situations, give us possibly minor power outages in areas where they're fed by overhead lines. So we have them on alert. Our dewatering task force is on alert. That brings generators and the fact to dewater streets and impassable locations. They'll be able to go out there and get us back to normal as soon as possible. We've pre-positioned equipment around the city, generators and pumps, light towers, things of that nature, in case there is power outages or large flooding. We've been in touch with our healthcare facilities, making sure that those folks are able to hunker down and get through this event. So our hospitals, senior centers, things of that nature, we've notified them. I think it's important to note that building department has put a no work order in. That'll start tomorrow until this is over. So the cranes are secured in a position that will withstand winds of over 70 miles an hour. So that is starting tomorrow at 3 p.m. The areas that we're really concerned about, I mean, the folks that live out there, I think they know it. I just want to go over just to make sure. Coastal areas that are at risk in Brooklyn, it's Coney Island, Garrison Beach, no surprise there. Out in Queens, the Rockaways, parts of Broad Channel, Howard Beach, again, these areas experience floods under normal conditions. So we would think under these conditions, you might get a little extra. Staten Island, Midland Beach, Oakland Beach, the areas around Father Capodanno Boulevard, and it's even possible at the Bronx, Throgs Neck, and Edgewater could be experiencing some of these floods. So we want to make sure that they're extra prepared. And again, as the mayor said, notify NYC. That's our system. We send out messages to all your mobile devices, even to your house phone. So if you haven't signed up for it, it takes you 2 minutes to sign up. I would really encourage you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And now, Chief Ed Mullane of the NYPD.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. The NYPD, at the beginning of the hurricane season, inventoried all our hurricane assets. We assessed them for accessibility and serviceability, and we're ready to go. We have assets pre-staged in the Rockaways, Coney Island, on the east side of Staten Island. There's other events going on in the city, citywide, that we're monitoring. We've been in contact with the organizer of the Electric Zoo on Randall's Island, also a Brazilian festival in Manhattan. Should the need be, there's a large police footprint at each of these events. If we need to somehow adjust times, dates, cancellations, we'd be prepared to do it. At this point, there seems to be no reason to do that. They're not concerned with the rain. They seem to be concerned a little bit with the wind. We'll have to monitor that as the storm progresses. Thank you
very much, Chief. Now, Chief at Department of the FDNY, Jim Leonard.
Good afternoon. We continue to monitor the situation very close with the mayor's office, our partners, and all the partner agencies you see up here. We were well prepared for any contingencies. We've activated our storm activation plan. We are in a planning stage right now. To support all those functions, search and rescue, providing emergency medical services, also downtree task force, pump operations, any type of emergency that we will work with, we are prepared to implement. We're making those we're evaluating now to see where they're going to ramp up, but as the storm progresses, we'll make that decision.
Thank you very much, Chief. Now, First Deputy Commissioner of the Sanitation Department, Dennis Diggins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. The Sanitation Department, as Commissioner Esposito stated, will be covering catch basins as part of the flash flood program. We'll also be monitoring for downed trees. We've increased our staffing across the weekend. We'll also be increasing our staffing at the special events at the Juve, just to make sure that with all of the downed trees possibility along Easter Parkway, we'll have people out there to make sure that that will be unimpeded. We've got our supervisors out there monitoring and coordinating with Parks and OEM on the downed tree protocol, and also monitoring our low-lying areas for any possible flooding.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Finally, I want you to hear from our Transportation Commissioner, Polly Trottenberg. Let's see if we can get you a little extra height, or no, there is no extra height coming out. You're gonna.
That is a bummer.
Yes, use your tiptoes.
I will miss the extra height. As the mayor mentioned, from DOT's point of view, we will particularly be focused on some of those wind questions. When we have sustained wind speeds of over 40 miles an hour, that's when we start to look at potential bridge closures. We'll be coordinating with the MTA and the Port Authority on that. We're also working with our contractors to make sure that all the construction sites around the city are secure. We'll also be coordinating with our state and local partners and our traffic coordination center to be sure we're looking at roadway incidents, bridge incidents as the storm approaches, and also working with DEP and sanitation on catch basins on the roadways to try and reduce flooding.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to do questions about the storm specifically. Any questions based on this briefing? Any concerns? Yes.
Mr. Mayor, is there any chance that Juve and the West Indian Day Parade might be canceled as a result of the weather?
Not based on what we know now. We are going to be looking very carefully at the situation. As Joe Esposito was saying during our briefing earlier, we've seen very rainy conditions previously, particularly at the parade, and still the parade went on and a lot of people showed up. So based on what we know now, we would continue, but that's going to be something we're going to watch very carefully. The biggest problems, as you can hear, are in the coastal areas. So given that the parade goes through Crown Heights, so it's well away from the coastal area, it should be affected less, but we will be keeping a close eye on that. Yes?
Any conversation with the governor about MTA and possible damage to MTA property like during Sandy?
We've been talking to the state and the MTA. Right now, we don't see that kind of scenario as we would have seen, for example, with a bigger storm or a major winter storm like the blizzard. We're going to constantly monitor, though, that. If we get to a point where we see any possibility, we'll certainly coordinate the timing of that. I don't think the issues really affect the MTA so much. I think when we talk about potential wind situations that are dangerous, that has much more to do with our roads. And as I said, one possibility is bridge restrictions if the winds really become more dangerous. Yes, Dave.
Mayor, just two things. What changed? Because it seemed like last night, early this morning, this wasn't something that we're going to have to worry about. It seems as if things have changed fairly significantly here. What changed? And also, this is Labor Day weekend. I think you had some plans. What were your plans? And I take it those have changed?
I will tell you, I didn't have any particularly elaborate plans, but I'll certainly be happy to address them. But let me stay on the question, what changed? This is, as with every storm, you have to watch it hour by hour to understand what's happening. So in some ways, the deeper fears we had of an ever-increasing storm, that has not been realized so far. But we're going to watch to make sure that doesn't happen. What is different, and the National Weather Service really emphasized this earlier, is this phenomenon of the storm coming up the coast and then stalling really for 4 days. And that is very unusual. That's why the rip current situation is going to be extremely dangerous and unusually dangerous. And the expert we were talking with this about for the National Weather Service said literally, I said, when was the last time we saw riptides this dangerous? He said it's at least 10 or 15 years that they would be this intense and this sustained. So that's why we have to be very clear. Do not even put your foot in the water on Sunday, and most likely for several days thereafter. We'll constantly update people. But that fact that the storm is going to stall and create these extremely dangerous riptides, that's what's different here. Dave, I did not have any particular plans except to be a part of the parade on Monday. Looking forward to that, even if it's rainy. And otherwise, I'll be here. Yes, Marcia?
What's your biggest concern with the storm? I mean, is it power outages? Is it riptide? Is it flooding? And what do you want to tell New Yorkers in terms of how to prepare for what's really their last weekend of the summer, and they were hoping to have good weather?
It's Marcia, it's really, really sad that people are looking forward to a long weekend, and it will certainly be compromised by this weather. But the number one thing I want to say to New Yorkers is the riptides are extremely dangerous. This is my number one message. You know, we're worried about flooding for sure. We're worried about down power lines, and those can be very dangerous. But what I can guarantee you, based on the projection of the National Weather Service, is that there will be unusually dangerous riptides. No one should assume that they can handle these kind of riptides. So if you go in the water, you are putting your life in danger. It's as simple as that. I say that to people who go to the beach. I say it to surfers. Don't even think about it. It's going to be unusually dangerous. So that's where, if you're talking about potential loss of life, that's my number one concern. And we're going to be out there aggressively. Parks Department, NYPD, telling anyone who goes to the beach, including surfers, don't do it. But beyond that, Marcia, it is all the things we're so used to when we have these kind of storms, the potential for flooding, down power lines, loss of power. We're going to be working on all those as well. Any other questions on the storm? Rich?
Follow up on that. So you're going to be telling people not to go in, or are you going to be enforcing it, making sure they don't go in, grabbing them, saying, no, you're not going in there?
First of all, we always have a lot of beaches. We'll have all the signs up, all the warning flags, all of that, and all enforcement will be out there telling people in a very direct, powerful way not to go in. We have not yet gotten to the question of whether we would forcibly stop someone from going in, but I think NYPD and our Parks Department folks are very good about getting their point across, and I think anyone who talks to one of them will get the message that they just shouldn't go in, and I think people will listen to that from our law enforcement personnel. You know, in the same vein, if, and this is only an if we got to an evacuation situation anywhere, that will be very forceful. That's going to be, and this is one of the key lessons we learned from Sandy. If we say evacuate, that we're going to enforce with extreme purpose. We're going to then have NYPD and other agencies out going door to door and telling people this is not a matter of choice. That's if we get to an evacuation situation. We are not there yet. But we will make our presence felt on the beaches for sure. Yes. Yeah, Marcia, people can go on the beaches. And let's be clear, we are not changing to Saturday, tomorrow. Beaches are open, and you can swim tomorrow. On Sunday, beaches are open in terms of you can be on the sand, but we are not allowing people to go in the water. I think based on what we know now, that same rule will cover Monday and Tuesday. We're not there yet, but we strongly believe we're going to end up saying that both Monday and Tuesday as well, you should not go in the water. But yes, people can walk on the beach, look at the power of Mother Nature. Don't even think about going in the water. Any other questions on this storm? Okay, and I'll finish by saying the obvious. We're going to keep you regularly updated. You're going to see the face of Joe Esposito a lot the next few days. One thing I want to emphasize, keep listening for these updates. We'd like to be able to tell you at some point that the situation gets better, but there's sometimes when the situation gets worse, so it's very important to stay updated. And everyone, all New Yorkers, need to be vigilant all the way to Wednesday, because this one's going to hang around for a while. Okay? Thanks, everyone.